Good afternoon, ladies. I really just wanted to jump in today and let's talk about our topics for the day, which were anxiety and stress and triggers. And I'm going to start with triggers because we hear that word a lot, and there are many people don't really understand what triggers are. What is a trigger? A trigger is really simply a stressor. So when we talk about stress, triggers are a stressor, which means specifically that they are um, it's something like a thing, a place, a person, um, a word or situation that evokes an intense emotional response. So there could be a number of things that'll trigger you. Somebody can say something, and it'll put you back in the mindset of when you felt a certain way. So they can bring forth feelings of anger, feelings of anxiety, feelings of stress, feelings of fear. All different kind of feelings can be triggered, and there are good triggers, there are bad triggers. But when we have a bad trigger, that will often put us in a state of stress, which is why it is called what? A stressor. Stress is simply um, perceived psychological or physiological um, strain or tension, and is caused by a challenging or threatening event, situation, circumstance um, that can also cause physical reactions. So, like the palpitations of your heart, or sweaty hands, or just sweating, period, or getting anxiety is a stressor. So you get anxiety as your form of acting out that particular stress. You can get high blood pressure. There's a lot of sicknesses and diseases that come out of stress, which is why when you go to the hospital, a lot of times when it's certain things, heart attacks, strokes, they want to ask about your stress. Women, if you're pregnant and you have miscarriages, one of the things they ask about is your stress levels, because your body can react in stress to harm the body itself or expel. It does a lot of things in the reaction of the stress. So anxiety is one of the big things that it does. Anxiety, because you'll see a lot of the same characteristics with anxiety, like it's common emotional, characterized by feelings of fear, of worry, of unease, apprehension, and it manifests a lot of times in those same physical attributes and symptoms, where you can get the racing hearts and the muscle tension. And anxiety is more often than not, triggered by stress, which is why the homework assignment was for you all to know your triggers. You need to know that if somebody yells at you at a certain decimal, that you're going to be cowering in the corner. Or if someone cuts their eyes at you a certain way, you're going to start fighting. I'm quick to swing, and you're not going to look at me like that, because in your history that meant that person was going to hit you, or that was an abusive relationship you were in, and you're going to react the same way. You have to be able to identify those things that send you off the deep end so that you can respond accordingly. When you know your triggers, you can make arrangements to say, you know what, I have this feeling. And when I have this feeling, this is how I'm going to respond. And you want to come up with responses to your triggers that do not involve not loving you. We don't want you eating your triggers. You don't need the whole container of ice cream because you were triggered. You don't need to just start stuffing your face with the fried chicken and all the good stuff that you enjoyed, but you don't need to eat those because you're triggered. We want you to clear your head. That's why we do the affirmations and the releases and the deep cleansing breaths, and with both of those, because we want you to clear your head. We want you to think clearly, because most of the time anxiety is what? It's worrying. It is being uneasy, having these feelings of worry, of fear, or unease. And how do you take control of feelings of fear and worry and unease? You look at the situation and you get control of the situation. How? Because you will look at the whole situation. What part of this am I worried about? If I'm worried I'm going to walk in the room and everybody is going to look at me and start talking about me, how does that affect my life? Really, what does it do to me? It really does nothing. Let them talk. They talk about everybody. They talked about Jesus. And so we have to learn enough to say, what you say about me, what you think about me, it's not affecting me. It only affects me if I allow what you say or what you think to take residence in my head. So you're not going to take residence in my head if it's not going to be positive to me, because I love me enough to say that those negative thoughts and things are not welcome in my head. You're not taking residence in my head and speaking into my life because you're not showing love for me. And I love me enough to say, I only want positivity in my life. So you take control of things like that. A wonderful, wonderful exercise you can do to work through any anxiety situation is to draw a circle on a piece of paper. In the middle of the circle, write down everything you can control. And on the outside of the circle, you write down everything you cannot control. First and foremost, everything we cannot control is no longer a worry because I can't do anything about it. Don't worry about it. My job becomes to only worry about what's in that circle. And now, the stuff that's in that circle, you want to go through it and you want to control the things you need to control. There are some things you probably need to take your hands off of and leave anyway. So you have to watch what you are allowing to take your mental space. And those are the easiest things and the best things that you can do to decide what needs to tag along with me in this journey. Carrying those things in this journey is nothing but extra added weight. We are trying to get rid of weight. So let's let those things go that do not serve us well and bring peace and joy and love into our lives. That's what the journey we're on. We're trying to love on ourselves. We're trying to be peaceful. We're trying to be happy. And we're trying to go forward doing what is best for us in purpose. So to do that, we need to let go of those things that negatively affect us. So that may be not talking to certain people or not talking to certain people past a certain time. Because sometimes you can talk to them, and as long as you keep the conversations brief, you're fine. But you know, if you talk to them over 5 minutes, over 10 minutes, or whatever your time frame is, you know they're going to start talking about some crazy stuff. They're going to start bringing up some stuff you used to do. You know, the stuff that you still are in process of forgiving yourself for. You know, they're going to bring that stuff up and have you feeling some kind of way. And we don't want that. You got to take the initiative to say, you know what, that's negativity that I don't want in my life right now. And then one of the other important things you need to do is make sure you're getting your vitamins and supplements in. Depending on where you live, if you are deficient in D, that is going to help you be more depressed if you're deficient in D. So making sure that if you're not getting enough sunlight to get the vitamin D naturally, that you want to make sure that you're getting some D in your system. And there's a few other supplements that you may need: magnesium, D, A, K. There's a few things that you may need in your system that is going to keep you from being depressed or overwhelmed or anxious. It's certain things that you can use to fight those. But like I always say, do your research. If you can get a panel run on your blood screening to see what you're deficient in, that will answer a lot of questions. But you want to do your research, eat as healthy as possible, and then start making plans to make better decisions. This month, we're not doing negativity, so speak good decisions over your life and make good decisions as you're speaking them over your life, because you have the power to do better, to be better, and to go forward as best you can. And remember, you guys, do something nice for you today because you're worth it. So I will talk to you next time. You'll see me a lot this week because we're going to be dealing with these emotional things so that we can be better and have a fantastic journey. I'll talk to you soon.